Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, my parents wants to give my sister the earrings my grandma left for me. EP put their kid in my car to say hi to my dog. Your kids are not free labor. Full stop. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My parents wants to give my sister the earrings my grandma left for me. This story is so weird. When I, 27F, was 20 years old, I was in relationship/FWB situation with a guy, now 40M. It was messy, we were on and off for almost 5 years. He was always clear he wasn't ready for a relationship, and I was always clear I was madly in love with him. Every time I got tired of the situation and wanted to leave somehow, he convinced me to stay, because love is free, we have so much time together. He wasn't ready to commitment. I asked advice to my sister, now 42F, and she gave me some crappy advice like made him compromise, leave Sfuff at his place and basically turn him into a boyfriend until it was too late to him to say no. I never managed to do that because I wanted him to love me as much as I loved him, not trap him. During the last night I spent at his place, he said he wanted to try something more serious with me, talked about some dates he planned, etc. Only to ghost me forever. It was hard. This was the first person I loved and he treated me like crap. 6 months passed and my sister came home. We both lived with our parents, saying she wanted to introduce her brand new boyfriend. She had a ton of boyfriends, but she said this was the one. It was a dinner only with my parents at our home, so I was excluded and expected to just go out or chill in my room. The day came and while they were dining I ordered a pizza. I came downstairs only to find the guy I was with 6 months prior dining with my parents and sister. I was shocked but paid for my pizza and went to my room again to cry. After dinner was over I confronted my sister in front of our parents and begged her to not be with him. To be loyal to me, her little sister. There was no way she didn't know who he was. I had showed her pictures of him, his socials media, where he worked, and she even knew where he lived. They never met because he didn't want to meet my family and never introduced his. But she knew who he was and she excluded me from that dinner because she knew. She said they met by chance after we stopped seeing each other. She knew how hard that rupture was, she knew how painful it was to not have even a closure. He just stopped replying, not even blocking me, just left me there wondering after 5 years. She knew that during those 6 months I was still hurting. I know how it was my fault. I was too naive and thought that if I stayed long enough he would be ready for the relationship I wanted and would learn to love me. Stupid, I know. She defended herself saying it was a coincidence and chemistry was there. She loved him and she wasn't going to lose the love of her life. This stuff only happens once in lifetime. When I was in my early 20s I would believe that. However, now I know that there are 8 billion people in this world. There's no one love of your life. You can find the love of your life multiple times if look for it. My parents sided with her and said I should get over it since we never have a real relationship. 1.5 years had passed. I've been excluded from multiple family gatherings because he would be around and my family thinks I will bring negative vibes since I'm still bitter about everything. I have no feelings for him, but I feel betrayed by my sisters and my parents. He is just POS on my eyes now. My sister is now 6 months pregnant. Due her age she had been extremely pampered by my parents. She still lives at home and is going to move with him maybe 2 months after the baby is born. Then they're going to marry. In my culture is normal that if a woman gives birth moves back, or stay, with her mom so the mom will help with the baby for the first months. A week ago my sister's friends made a surprise baby shower. I happened to be at home. I tried to talk to them, I don't know why, maybe because my sister and I were too close before and I'm sad we're not longer friends. But her friends acted like I wasn't there and only replied to me with yes, no, or silence, as if I was the one that created this mess. Or I was a homewrecker. Or I tried to seduce my sister's man. I was planning to move already, I was saving money, etc. But after that I left immediately to a friend's house. I'm in the process to find my own place. 2 days ago I received a call from my parents asking me to have a talk. I went to their house and they informed me that the diamond earrings my grandma left me will be given to my sisters. Those earrings have been in my family for 4 generations, and before my grandma died she said the earrings will be mine and my sister will receive the gold necklace. Grandma trusted my parents with the earrings. There was no will or anything, she just asked to give it to me when I was mature enough to appreciate/take care of a family heirloom. Now my parents thinks since my sister is getting married first and is having grandma's first great-grandchild, my sister should have it. I'm really mad now. They're robbing me of something my grandma left to me. I don't think my parents are evil. I think they were worried my sister wouldn't marry due her age. Again, in my culture a single woman in her 40s is something to worry for her family, and now that she's forming a family they want to reward her with everything. But I was the closest to my grandma. She made it clear the earrings will be mine, not my sister's, not the first one to marry or have a child, but mine. After 2 years of being excluded in favor of my sisters, I gave the ultimatum to my parents: they give the earrings to me as my grandma intended, or I will cut them from my life forever. Not gonna lie, the idea of cutting my family off is too painful, but I feel they already made me and still makes me so wrong. I don't want them in my life anymore. I feel a little shallow fighting over this, but those are only things my granddad left to, they are not entitled to them. Wow, your parents and sister have some nerve. Get your hands on those earrings and keep them safe. They are yours and should be in your possession by now. Ask nicely, then if she doesn't give them up, tell her you will sue. Then do it. Totally sue. They know they are wrong and trying to ask you for permission to feel better. Sue. Your sister stole too much from your life. Record your conversation for court proceedings if needed. Can't really sue, there was no will, just OP's word. But I do agree with A, getting out ASAP, and B, getting the earrings and tiring them somewhere safe. If there's no will, just take them and disappear when you move. You should tell the entire family what they're doing. Shame them. Get all the aunties and cousins on your side. Cut them off. They essentially have already cut you off, as you are excluded from any gathering that your ex will be attending. How exactly are they there for you? Your parents and your sister are acting horribly towards you. Those earrings are tours and you should put your foot down and get them. I understand that they are doing everything they can to get her married and situated, because it's shameful that she is single at her age, for your culture, not in the real world and for me, but they are throwing you out and disrespecting you in the process. As painful as it will be for you to cut them out, they have already discarded you. EP put their kid in my car to say hi to my dog. Yesterday my dog and I were road tripping back from spending Thanksgiving with family. A few hours in we stopped to stretch legs and get some water, pulled into a rest stop. Plenty of parking, not very busy. After I let him out to stretch, he was sitting in the back with the windows open while I pulled up directions in the driver's seat. For context, it's an SUV with a 3-seater bench in the back. My dog was sitting directly in the middle, didn't have his head out of the window. All of a sudden I see a toddler being lifted into and through the open back window by their parent to pet my dog. The child's body was 50% into my vehicle's open window. This wasn't a hand next to the window to get him to come sniff it. The EP is laughing, as is the other EP holding a younger baby standing next the parent that's currently trapezing their toddler into my car. They did not ask or say anything, they just laughed and stuck their toddler into my open window. I was so shocked that I audibly gasped and just turned around and gave them a confused/annoyed look. It took at least 5 solid seconds for them to acknowledge my reaction and pull their kid out through the window, never apologized, just walked away while still laughing. I have a recognizable, friendly, giant breed dog that kids typically want to pet. Luckily he's already used to having to interact with parents and young kids. This scenario was just so unsafe to me though. These parents have no idea if my huge dog is friendly and put their kid in an extremely unsafe situation. Let alone the rudeness of just entering someone else's vehicle? In what remote world was this okay to do? I wish I wasn't so shocked and said something. My old gal was abused and abandoned before we adopted her. She was a mess. Children scared her, among several other things. Over 2 years I worked with her building confidence and training before I started taking her to walks in parks. We'd quietly walk past other park goers and she'd be fine. One day, I'm standing next to my dog in the lot, fumbling in my bag for the keys, and we get swarmed by 5 small children. No one asks if they can pet her. No one even acknowledged me. I look around for an adult and I can't find one. My poor girl was so scared she was shaking violently with her head lowered all the way to the ground, and the children wouldn't listen when I told them to stop. I'm so grateful she didn't bite or growl because, well, for one, they're like 4-year-olds, she'd take all the blame. My dog is panicking, I'm panicking, and all of a sudden a girl's name is called from all the way across the lot. There's 4 adults just standing by an SUV smiling. I wish I had given them a piece of my mind, but in that moment I just wanted my dog to feel safe again. I don't care if you mean no harm or love dogs or just want to say hi. You are not entitled to my dog. And for F's sake, don't let a child, let alone one who hasn't been taught how to respect a dog, approach a dog they don't know. It could end badly. My sister got the end of her nose bit off by a dog when she was 12, even though she was warned, and it was her own fault. That dog turned out to be the sweetest angel, and my sister was luckily fine, but new noses ain't cheap. Kids are crunchy and taste good with ketchup. My German Shepherd loves them. People are idiots. It was very nice of you not to roll up your back windows taking their arms in your doors. People can be very stupid when it comes to kids and pets. My friend and I were out with our dogs Saturday night at a very dog-friendly local brewery. My dog is a 105-pound Catahoula leopard, my friend has a large golden. Some random woman just decided to let her little bark monster say hi. It did not turn out the way she expected. I had a giant Malamute, but somewhere in his heritage was a bit of husky, as he had the really blue-white eyes. He was an absolute gentle giant and loved kids, but also had been abused as a pup and had some lasting damage. He was very, very dumb. This parent sent their young child, about 6, running up to him to pet without asking. We were facing the other way as we were at a market looking at the stall, and he threw it was a wonderful game and jumped up. The kid was sent flat on his back, and he had massive claw marks all down one arm that bled. The family called the police, but the stall holder and a number of bystanders vouched for the fact that the dog was on a short lead and never more than a couple of feet from my side and very well behaved. I know it's not the same, but last week, I had to put my dog down. She was a very old rescue I got after my kids went to college. 2 months ago, my sister and her 6-year-old son moved in because she was evicted from her home. Her son scared the shit out of my poor girl because he was always trying to play like she was a puppy who wasn't abused. Anyway, last week, when I found out she had terminal cancer, I had to make the decision. As I was saying goodbye to my girl, my sister rolled in with her son and said he wanted to experience this with his aunt. I said no, but she closed the door and walked out to smoke. My sweet girl's last few moments on this earth were horrible and filled with anxiety, and I hate my sister for it. Your kids are not free labor. Full stop. Before anyone accuses me of being a whiny kid, I will say this: washing dishes, cleaning up after oneself, taking care of a pet, or other menial chores are not labor in this context. Those are merely tasks that everyone should probably know how to do in order to improve one's quality of life. Additionally, it's totally fine to ask a child to flip on a light switch if your hands are full, or have them help to clean up the home that you share. It's fine if you ask a kid for help, or get them to clean their own messes, if they're old enough. What is not okay, however, is to make them do everything, all of the time. This is the situation that I find myself in. I'm an adult, and I pay to stay here just like anyone else. I keep it clean, cook for the family whenever I can afford ingredients, and look after the children whenever needed. But I am also called away from whatever I'm doing to do these little side quests for my mom, or to prepare and serve food to her when she's too tired, lazy, to just get it herself. She's extremely picky, so getting food often means multiple trips to and from the kitchen, something that she laughs about occasionally. I am called well after breakfast hours, sometimes close to noon, because the kids need breakfast, and because I just happened to not work that morning, it's my task to do it. When I ask why the heck they weren't fed sooner, My mother makes up some BS excuse about not having the time, all while still lying in bed in her pajamas. She couldn't find the time to pour a few bowls of cereal, and now it's become my problem. The same thing happens for lunch on the days when I finish with work early. I come home, and before I can even get through the doorway, they're requesting McDonald's and tacos and my fancy little grilled cheese sandwiches. I basically just cut them into triangles. It's either rushing to get them food before they start cannibalizing, or having to set my things at the door and help them with something unrelated that my mom refused to help them with, usually something related to one of their phones, a concerning message on Roblox, or acquiring art supplies because one of them feels compelled to doodle. On my days off, I've been woken up and informed that I have to look after the children all day because, surprise surprise, my mother has somewhere else to be today. No prior warning. No asking. Just, this is what's going to happen, now put on your shoes and get down here. Mind you, my siblings are fed and cared for when I'm not here, but the house often stays messy, and their desires unrelated to food or basic care are unfulfilled in the meantime. It's then up to me when I'm home to give up whatever free time or sleep time that I would love to have, all to ensure that the kids don't feel totally ignored. My mother has said this much to me, the part about not wanting her kids to feel ignored, not realizing that this is literally her job as a parent. I am almost never called by her unless she needs something related to childcare or her own frivolous whims. My no is unheard every time unless I'm too busy, tired, or sick to move, and at the end of it all, I get some half-arsed thanks before being ignored or shooed away again. I do a lot at work and at home, and my limited free time is just spent dreading the next day's tasks or sitting quietly in my room, ignoring my own hunger or needs and pretending to sleep so that hopefully, I'll be left the hell alone for a while. My mental health is already at all-time low for reasons that I'd rather not get into in this post, but it absolutely does not help when I have to ignore my own empty belly of full bladder, all because she'll suddenly find some reason to need my help the second that I open my door and she remembers that I'm here. I hate this. I've become little more than an extra set of hands, a spare wallet, a listener when she's upset, and a free third parent with none of the authority. She won't even let me send them to their rooms sometimes. What's most frustrating is that for everything that I do, I get next to nothing in return. My mom rarely makes or buys dinner for all of us. I've had to walk home from work on occasions because she forgot that I worked. She still hasn't taught me how to do my own taxes. She won't listen when I need to talk for a change, and she doesn't always pay me back when she borrows large sums of money, unrelated to the bills. There is no equal exchange here, and we are not mother and kid or even just roommates. I am an extra set of hands with no opinions or complaints, no sick days or arguments. And if I mess up, she has no trouble telling me all about it, usually with some unkind words thrown in. Your kids are not free labor, people. The oldest, the middle, the one with the most free time, or the one who spends the most time indoors. There isn't really a good excuse for dumping it all onto one of them, especially in a household where there are enough older kids or even full adults to share the work with. Here's an edit, since I probably did more ranting than explaining. My dad is in the picture, and he works from nearly sunrise to sunset most days in order for us to afford bills, not including my contributions. We always have food on the table and our lights and water on, but the internet and phone service aren't always paid for. None of us can really afford too many doctor visits, and one missed paycheck or emergency situation could set us back for months. I'm in my early 20s, and with my low-paying job, not having a car, and current lack of a degree, I can't continue college without financial aid of some sort. Moving out isn't really possible. My job is walking distance, though it doesn't pay enough to save up for a car or a place to live. I'm taking the necessary steps to get my life in order, but it's a slow process. Dealing with my mother and her BS is definitely not helpful. I also can't just leave when things are this bad either. I couldn't afford to, and I'd end up coming right back, if there's still somewhere to come back to, considering that my income is important too. I'm doing my best with what I have, but I kind of have no one. My dad is supportive and awesome, but he's almost always busy. My mom is usually available more often, but simply doesn't care. Google is my friend, but that's pretty much it. And that sucks. I mainly posted here to get it out of my head, as my mom was being really crummy yesterday. It's not bad enough to get CPS involved, as my mom's whims and pettiness aren't worth breaking up a family over. It's just kind of soul-rending that so much of this falls onto me, especially considering that I'm not even the oldest or second oldest amongst my siblings. I have so many comments. If you're 18, start saving up to move out. See if you can find a different living situation. If the house is that bad, call CPS and request a visit. Depending on the age of the kids, they could be doing chores and helping with keeping the house in better condition. That's a shared responsibility for everyone. Stop waiting for your mom to teach you how to do your taxes. Look it up online yourself. There's no excuse on that. You have the power of the internet to teach you, and there are tons of resources out there, including tutorials on YouTube, guides to read, and free systems like TurboTax. Depending on the age of the kids, they can pour cereal for themselves. Contact another family member about what's going on. Have them come over to see how things are. Parentification is abuse. When mom is home and capable, making you come take care of her kids is bull. That is her job. When she is too lazy to feed them, it is also abuse. Stop paying her rent and instead present her with a bill for services. Check out what nannies, cooks, and housekeepers make in your area and keep track. Let her know that from now on you will only buy the kids' food if SHE provides the cash. If she needs you to watch the kids, then you need at least 48 hours notice unless it's a genuine emergency. Get out as soon as you can. And don't loan her any more money. Stop coming home, turn off your phone and location, and learn how to say no. Move out if you're 18 or older. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.